and to get into the meat and potatoes of it all, because there are a lot of weather weenies out there that appreciate the substance and not just, oh yeah, there's this chance of snow. But it's basically just holding their hand through it, explaining the nuances and the uncertainty, and I think that's how you build credibility and trust.
Nick, thank you so much for taking some time out of what has been a busy day for you. For people down here in the Carolinas, we got a lot of Northeast transplants down here. If folks are up that way and they want a good forecast, where can they find you, Nick?
Sure. So we've got a 24/7 streaming channel. We've got a weather app. You just type in Norcast, and then on Facebook, it's Nor'easter Nick, NOREASTER NICK, and that's where I am.
Man, great. I love your enthusiasm, Nick. Always do such a great job. You were in your element today. You looked great on Fox Weather, by the way. Good job.
I appreciate that. Hey, I got a chance to do national stuff. It's living out some childhood dreams. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. We'll talk to you later.
Good stuff.
We'll see you. Bye.
Yeah, Tim, that would be us up there, right? When we're up there, you don't get a storm like that every once in a while, and it really does go to show you. He made a good point about how things recovered quickly. This is a big storm. The difference between snow and ice. He said even for them, the ice caused big time issues, just like it would down here. It is crazy that even in the Northeast, of an area which is, is very used to snow. Snow is definitely better than ice, and they're going to recover quickly from this one just because of the warm up and the fact that it wasn't ice. But this is an all-timer. I'm kind of curious, what were the highest totals you've ever seen growing up, and what do you think will end up out of this one?
It's tough for me to answer because living in the lake snow bands, you get just sometimes some storms that last like 2, 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
But definitely, I remember as a kid a lot of times the snow being higher than me. So,
oh, wow.
I mean, I'm not beating my chest here or anything, but I grew up in one of the snowiest parts in the eastern U.S. So we would get 100 inches in a week sometimes. Not often, but that could happen. But yeah, 3 feet in a day for anybody, that's insane. So like Providence, this is an all-timer for them, and I'm glad they got a yard of snow. I think that's cool to see. How about you?
Yeah, you get to use the whole yardstick this time, which is kind of cool. Just real quickly, we're almost out of time.
Up there.
Yeah, I'll give you the first couple of numbers I'm seeing. I'm just pulling up the biggest numbers I could find. Warwick, Rhode Island, 36.2, South Providence, 36, and North Kingstown, 35. Downtown Providence, 33.5. So those are the biggest numbers. I'm sure they'll go up. But stay tuned tomorrow. I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but we've got more WCNC Plus coming up next.
everyone. Thanks for being with us here for Live Impact News. I'm Vanessa Rufus. Right away, we do want to turn to a feed we're seeing coming to us straight out of our area, Charlotte. We've got the City Council discussing various items on the agenda. Let's go ahead and listen in. Sounds like the Mayor Vi Lyles is speaking right now.
That McCrory Heights is a special neighborhood. You know, I grew up with my aunt's house still there. So when you start doing these kinds of projects, they do get to be where you have a place where it's human to you. And I have to say this as much as possible. I hope that we can do something that will make this proud for everyone, and that's the goal. The goal is not about what we want to do or see done or how much it's going to cost. It should be around how do you make the community better. So I hope that you'll always think of that in a way that works for everyone. So thank you very much, and I will ask Dante Anderson if she wants to.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank everyone in the community for coming out, but more importantly, over a series of weeks, communicating to all of us. I've been talking about this particular project and its impact on neighborhoods in District 1 since October of last year with residents. And I have been advocating for the North Carolina Department of Transportation to actually come and listen to everything that the community has to say, not just in District 1, but throughout the entire 11-mile corridor that is a part of the project. And I've been having those conversations with residents. I've been having conversations with people who are involved in the program, in the background, and so I'm absolutely thrilled that the Secretary is coming and will be listening. My understanding is that there's a listening center that's being established as well. I will echo everything that the residents say, but I want you guys to speak the same thing you're saying to us, speak that to our NCDOT and our General Assembly. Speak that to our state leaders, and I think we can move forward together. So thank you so very much for your engagement over the last several weeks, but for some of my constituents over the last several months. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right.
Yeah, I won't say too much. I echo a lot of the comments that people have said, particularly Councilmember Owens. Definitely want to see those remarks later. I think you had some really great points for that. I'm excited that this is going to go before a full council for us to have these discussions, talk about pausing this project. I think, talking about this kind of being finalized in 2014. We know that we have new technology now, and I think that we need to think outside the box instead of just expanding with toll lanes, particularly when we talk about elevated lanes. We know that that's not best practices right now around the country. So I'd hate for Charlotte, as we think of ourselves, we're the Queen City, we're 14th growing city and biggest city in the country. I think we need to think differently. I don't think this is the way to go. So I'm excited to continue to work with you all to really elevate this concern so that we can continue that trajectory of being a great city. And I personally don't think that where we are right now is doing that.
Ready?
Yeah.
Please.
Good evening again. I won't belabor the points. I agree with my colleagues. I stand with you all. I see my West Boulevard Neighborhood Coalition neighbors here and so many others, historic West End. Thank you for coming out and for the work that you do, not just tonight, but continually, because y'all have been on this a long time. And I love to see neighbors from all over our city that are impacted standing together. And we got to respect that, right? And so when I think about this conversation, I absolutely support the 60-day delay. I support having this conversation and potentially taking a vote to direct our CARTPO member to move for a 60-day delay. I don't want us to get lost. I don't want it to get lost, though, that after 60 days, there still is another decision to be made. What I'm hearing is that you don't want to just delay the outcome, you want to change the outcome. And that's what matters. And so with that, I want to make sure that I understand, Madam Attorney, if you've got it, very plainly, what are the remaining decision points? Because I don't want us to get 60 days later and find that we thought that we had an opportunity to impact, but all we did was kick the can down the road.
Thank you, Dr. Watlinson. So the request for qualifications allowed for the short list of contractors or proposers to tender their request for qualifications or their qualifications. The next step is for them to submit proposals. And with proposals, it will help to share the options for the community from their perspective on how the project can be delivered. And that's a really important point for community engagement. I believe NCDOT's plan at this point is certainly to continue to have meetings with community leaders and engagement with stakeholders, certainly like City Council, to help inform how that project delivery may be given. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the two options that are available, but again, I highlighted it just a moment about NEPA and the process with those community meetings. I think there was several opportunities for community engagement, and it will be really important for those voices to be heard about the concerns, not just about the maps themselves, but the options that are available for delivering the project.
Thank you for that. Just as a follow-up, the gentleman that was here earlier mentioned that there is always an option to not proceed. Is that consistent with what you have found in your research?
So, as I understand it, and I want to place a disclaimer, of course, I don't represent CARPO. I'm advising on behalf of City Council at this point. It is my understanding that if there is a pause in the project or to stop the project altogether, certainly DOT would have to revisit how that funding model would work more broadly and how the projects may be managed, because again, we're part of a regional authority and part of District 10, and so how those monies will be dispersed in the future are really up in the air and hard to determine at this point, and I wouldn't want to commit at this point about how it would actually land.
Okay, thank you so much. Last question then. When we get to that point, will this council have an opportunity to take a vote to direct our member to move to pause, delay, advocate for a particular outcome?
Council can direct its representative based upon a motion and a vote by the full body. However, CARTPO's adjudication and their agenda process is managed by their bylaws. And as I understand it, and I just had an opportunity to review their bylaws today, it presents that their agenda items are based on their chair placing items on the agenda. And so certainly it would have to work through their typical process with adding agenda items. And so directing perhaps the representative to explore what those options are and how to get that information before the full body would be the appropriate next step.
Gotcha. So it sounds like there's work to do.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like the next step, or one of the next steps, would be to be reaching out to the chair of CARPO and let them understand that the community desires that this becomes an agenda item as this discussion goes on. I look forward to continuing to work with you. As I learn things, I will certainly share it with you, and I'm sure that you all will continue to do that. But this is certainly is a journey, and we're committed to taking that journey with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Attorney, thank you for clarifying the council's legal authority in terms of the next steps. Is there a legal obligation for CARPO to share project maps, design concepts before any deadlines or binding votes in order to ensure that public and government decision makers have meaningful notice? Because we were not provided a notice.
Thank you, Councilmember Ajmera. The CARPO acts as an advisory body to NCDOT. And the way the statute is written, before any sort of toll projects can be approved to move forward, it has to come before CARPO. And In doing that, that's what the 2014 vote was about, and then subsequently the P3 delivery model. The piece about the maps, there is no statutory, that I'm aware of, let me say that, let me give that disclaimer, that I'm aware of. There's no statutory responsibility that CARTPO do that, share the maps. However, that role really lies with NCDOT, and NCDOT sharing the maps makes it available to the public, and ultimately the delivery of the model, the delivery of the project is governed by NCDOT.
Please, so we can have Ms. Ashmira.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It looks like that we need to explore options not just with CARPO, but also with NCDOT and the governor's office. Let's be honest, issuing a RFP is not destiny. It's not democracy, and it's certainly not community consent. What we are facing right now is a decision of consequence. Elevated toll lanes through the heart of Uptown that will shape our skyline, mobility, neighborhoods for generations to come. And yet, critical design components were not fully understood by this body or the public before the process advanced. This is not how transparency works. And if this project is truly in the best interest of our city, it should withstand a pause, a scrutiny. It should also withstand public debate. We pause projects all the time when new information emerges, like in this. Pause when community impact is unclear. We pause when cost exposure is uncertain. I don't know why we would move faster on this project and something this consequential. And we are not able to answer what is the true financial liability, what are the displacement and equity impacts, what authority this council has and retains, and whether alternatives have been fully evaluated. So then we are not ready to proceed. So I know that we are saying that this is another body. Leadership is not about saying that our hands are tied. It's about asking who tied them and why. I agree that we need to pause, but I also think we need to take an action that is in the best interest of our community. I'm sure I'll have more questions for you, Madam Attorney.
If I may follow up on one thing that you asked me. So with respect to the maps, it's really important to remember that there's a procurement process that CARTPO participates in, but there's also the NEPA, the NEPA process that allows for map submittals, consideration, feedback, public comment, all of the engagement pieces that we're talking about here tonight. And so it's a both and so it's about CARTPO. CARTPO does play this advisory role, but there's also the Federal Highway Administration's role that's available and should be utilized as well.
Thank you. I think everyone has had an opportunity to speak, and I really appreciate so very much your listening and providing the information that you believe is most important for our communities. So thank you very much. And you're welcome to stay along for all of the business items that we're now going to try to work through. So with this, we're going to start our consent agenda. I want to make sure that if we will now move on to the consideration. Thank you guys for coming.
All right, folks, and it looks like they're about to move on to other item agendas here for the Charlotte City Council meeting. We'll take this moment to take a quick break. You see a lot of folks who are leaving this meeting, a little bit of background and context for the dialogue we just heard from city leaders. There are quite a few public speakers who showed up for the public comment portion of this meeting, and we've been seeing a lot of dialogue from folks in the community regarding this I-77 toll lane expansion, and some opposition that's been growing, and some discussions about whether this expansion will negatively impact historically Black communities in West Charlotte. So we heard, quite frankly, from some folks there on council talking about whether they should be pausing this project until they can get an idea of the full impacts that this project will have on folks in these neighborhoods that will be directly affected by any sort of expansion. Speaking of public comment, we actually do want to bring you a portion of that. A lot of topics, including this one, discussed by folks who basically had their freestyle comment period, if you will, addressing city leaders directly. So we'll have that for you in 2 minutes when we return here to Live Impact News. Hey folks, welcome back here to Live Impact News. We want to turn now to the discussion we saw today from the public comment section of today's City Council meeting out of Charlotte. As we alluded to before we went to break, one of the big topics right now is the I-77 toll lane expansion and what sort of impacts this could have on historically Black neighborhoods in West Charlotte, which would be primarily impacted by this expansion. We talked about the fact that the live dialogue we just saw from council members just a few moments ago was in response to some of the public comment we heard during that public comment portion. So we want to play some of that for you now, keeping in mind that a lot of these speakers can talk about whatever topics they want to. So we might hear a bit about the toll lanes. We might hear other topics discussed. For example, we heard tonight bike and pedestrian safety, as well as folks who were there to advocate for the animal shelter to have more staffing as the shelter is expanding in the coming years. Let's listen in for a bit.
Thank you very much. So now I really would like to start our public forum. We're going to move up we're going to move the public forum up to hear from our residents first. We have a process here that says that people call in and they have opportunities to be a part of our public forum. And so today we have 12 people that are going to participate in our public forum. And I want to make sure that we do this, until we will have more opportunity, and I'll go and explain that a little bit further later on. But right now we are going to go through our public forum, and we will have people speak for 2 minutes because we have over 15 speakers, I believe, Madam Clerk.
We have over, yes.
Okay, so If you would like to come down, I'll make sure that I will read the name out, and then if you would come down, and please be careful because the steps are not always really full for everybody. So if you would like to do this and come down and be able to speak, we will call first on Philip Stanford. Mr. Stanford? Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Israel Smith.
District 3.
All right, please begin.
Thank you to the mayor, the manager, members of City Council, and the City Clerk's Office for allowing me this opportunity to address you about a pressing matter of public safety and health, car violence against non-drivers. As a leader in the Charlotte running community, my request to speak was initiated by the tragic and senseless death of Lance Sotelo in January. Lance's death is especially tragic since the driver who allegedly killed him should not have been driving due to a suspended license. Since Lance's death, 5 other pedestrians have died on the streets of Charlotte. A change in enforcement, infrastructure, and culture is desperately needed. We cannot implement our ideas or plans without the assistance of the city. I'm here to ask, when you approve the budget in a few months, money for the Department of Transportation should include higher allocations for all citizens of Charlotte and not just drivers. City leaders boast about technology where they can control all traffic lights in the city from a control room. While I'm impressed and in support of that technology, we are missing the basics like properly painted crosswalks and functioning signals for runners and pedestrians. Upgrades are in place in small pockets of the city, including leading pedestrian intervals and mid-block beacon signals, and that should be expanded with regular maintenance to ensure the ones that are currently in place are working properly. In 2025, council members Mayo, Mazzar-Arias, and Owens each had pedestrian mobility safety as a big part of their platforms. They defeated 2 incumbents and the spouse of a 3rd incumbent. Our safety is a winning message, and that needs to be delivered loud and clear to the Department of Transportation. We need real action from the city, and not just to get handed off to Vision Zero, which so far has been among the areas of the city that we have met with the least supportive group among the ones we have connected with at the city. We need the city council.
Thank you for doing this, and I know we have a lot of folks that are going to speak tonight. So thank you for that time. Israel Smith. Is Mr. Smith here? I don't see him. We'll move forward. Micah Belong. Micah Belong. Logan Creech. Logan Creech. Thank you. Coming down. And you will have 2 minutes. Once you start.
Wasn't here? Okay. Or Micah.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm pleased to see some fresh faces on Council. I am Logan Creech. I am the Secretary of Washington Heights, neighborhood off of Beatty's Ford. We are here underneath new leadership. We are currently being led by LaDonte Lee as president, Shedrick Matthews as vice president, and Nathan Hernandez as treasurer. This group was formed out of the inaction of our former predecessor, who I think has fallen into elderly age, and so we have taken over the community. What we're here to discuss is the failed placemaking initiative at the Ritz of Washington Heights. The Urban Design Department has created these spaces without any clear oversight or programming into these spaces. All you need to do is just drive down Beatty's Ford, go sit across at the Metro Police Station, and watch everything that occurs there on a daily basis. It's no, the police officers come out of the Metro station, they look left, they look right on Renner, they look straight ahead at the park, they know what's going on, and nothing's being done. So we've already reached out to the urban design department. We're getting some traction right now, but what I need from you guys is to put pressure on them. Put pressure on them to program the space, to make sure that city staff is adequately maintaining it for all of our safety. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that information. Okay, our next speaker is Mike Finessis, if I said that correctly.
Yeah, there you go.
And our next speaker after Mike will be Jackie Adams. If you'd like to come down, Miss Adams. Please. You have 2 minutes.
Mayor, members of City.
We're breaking in here right now with some brand new images into the Live Impact News studio. This is coming to us from the Raleigh area, so not too far from here for where we're broadcasting in Charlotte. This is a massive fire. As you can tell, the aerial's really showing not only the scope of the fire, but also the response and the damage that we're already seeing. We're told that this is the Camden Westwood Apartments on Summit Ridge Loop. This is near the Morrisville area. If you're not familiar with Morrisville, it's about, maybe if I had to guess, 15 minutes or so, but it's fairly close to Cary. It's about that amount of time northwest of Cary. And we're told this is a 3-alarm fire. I mean, the damage that we can already tell is here massive. Look like, at least for that specific building, I mean, most of the roof was gone. These are really striking pictures. We are still trying to get some more information from our news partners out here, but they are saying at this point they've not heard of any injuries. They've not heard of the cause at this point. And these are all details that they are trying to get from authorities as we speak. And once we get that information, of course, we'll certainly pass that along to you here on Live Impact. But once again, breaking images right now out of Morrisville, North Carolina, just outside of Cary, not too far from Raleigh. 3-alarm fire, massive response. You can see ladder trucks out there trying to put out these flames, but it looks like at this point those flames have already consumed a large portion of this apartment complex. The roof appears to be gone from that entire building there, the whole structure there. So stay tuned. This is something we'll be watching throughout the next couple of hours here on Live Impact. We will take a quick break, folks. Back on the other side with more updates from this scene, as well as your other headlines. We do continue to, of course, watch the big topics coming out of Charlotte City Council tonight, too. Some really interesting conversations that we're seeing there on that front. But stay with us, and we'll see you in 2. Hi, folks. Thanks for sticking with us here on Live Impact News. We want to get back to that breaking news that we're seeing out of the Raleigh area in North Carolina. We've got really stunning images coming into our Live Impact News studio of this 3-alarm fire that's happening at an apartment complex in Morrisville. We told you before, this is just outside of the Cary area, probably by about 10-15 minutes or so. This is the Camden Westwood Apartments complex on Summit Ridge Loop, if you're familiar at all with that area. And as we've pointed out before, I mean, not only is the response huge, you could see several ladder trucks out there dumping water on the scene, but I mean, the damage is really striking. You could see the roof is gone from that area. Looks like we're about to lose that shot as the chopper is flying away from the scene. If we get any new updates, of course, we'll pass that along to you here on Live Impact, or if we see the feed come back, we'll pop back over to that. Meantime, for folks who are just now joining us, we've been listening in to some pretty big topics over at Charlotte City Council during the meeting tonight. We want to go back to this public comment section that we had to kind of dump out in the middle of to get to that breaking news. Some of the big topics we're seeing, keep in mind with the public comment, they can kind of bounce around. This is very freestyle, if you will. Folks in the public can pick whatever topic they want to talk about and discuss it for 2 minutes. But we're seeing the I-77 Express Lane expansion project being discussed a lot, as well as bike and pedestrian safety. And we also saw animal shelter advocates at the meeting tonight talking about the need for increased staffing as the shelter is expanding as well over the next couple of years. Let's listen back in.
Priorities that directly impact public safety and firefighters who provide it. First, additional 5 modified duty positions. Firefighting is physically demanding and inherently dangerous. Our members experience line of duty injuries. Our members experience line of duty injuries, cardiac conditions, and occupational illnesses after years of exposure. Some are medically removed from riding the apparatus under NFPA 1582 through no fault of their own. Modified duty positions allow these firefighters to continue to contribute in essential roles such as training, logistics, inspections, and operational support while they recover and work towards returning to full duty. These are not handouts. These are needed positions within CFD. Second, pay parity. Charlotte has grown into a world-class city, but firefighter compensation has not kept pace with comparable cities, including those cities surrounding Charlotte. Recruitment and retention will not improve until pay reflects the responsibility and risks this job demands, including our non-emergency divisions, including our dispatchers in alarm. In 2023, this council committed to maintaining pay parity with CMPD. We stand with our brothers and sisters in blue of CMPD in supporting competitive pay. But parity is not a luxury. It's a city council resolution and a promise you made to us. Firefighters are not asking for special treatment. We're asking to be valued partners in Charlotte's continued success. We respectfully urge you to approve 5 modified duty positions and pay parity. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Adams.
My name is Jackie Adams, and I'm a resident of District 8. Thank you for having me. I'm here to talk about animal care and control. I support increasing its budget this year. I'd never fostered a dog before, and I didn't think I had the time, the knowledge, or the support to do it well. After hearing about the changes being made at the animal services, like clearer volunteer pathways, I decided to step up. My first Charlotte Mecklenburg animal care and control foster was a dog named Herc, a Mastiff mix puppy who came in frightened after experiencing abuse. In those first weeks, every time I reached to pet him, he would flinch, afraid of being hurt again. With the guidance from the shelter staff and the volunteers, I watched him learn to trust, to play, and to be a dog again. While he was adopted, I realized fostering wasn't just about transforming the life of one dog. It was about creating space for the next one and helping to relieve strain on the shelter system. Since then, I've fostered 14 dogs through the Charlotte Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control. I've seen how stretched thin the system is and how hard that makes it to achieve higher safe statuses. This experience moved me so deeply that now I speak at Charlotte Mecklenburg middle and high schools about fostering dogs as a way to teach responsibility, empathy, compassion, and resilience to students. The animal welfare crisis is in Charlotte is a community problem that requires community solutions. So I'm here tonight as proof that your decisions that you all made helped create new volunteers, new fosters, and new advocates. With adequate staffing and continued support, thousands more Charlotteans can help in the same way. Thank you so much for your support of the animal care and control here in Charlotte. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that recognition. Thank you. Our next speaker is Susanna Trotter and Shannon Benz. Our next speakers. Ms. Trotter, thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Susanna Trotter, and I'm a resident of District 6 and a proud resident of Charlotte. I'm a member of the Charlotte Master Chorale, and I sing with the Charlotte Symphony, and I'm also a volunteer at Charlotte Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control, and the shelter is what I'm here about tonight. I got involved with the shelter after my soul dog passed away, and I wasn't ready for another dog of my own, but I wanted to get back and help other families find that kind of love and companionship. Firstly, thank you for your approval of the 2026 budget, and because of your support, the volunteer process at the shelter is much more accessible. We're also eagerly awaiting the construction of the adoption center that you approved funds for. Since the transition from CMPD to general services, I've seen wonderful improvements. We've added staff in critical areas like the front lobby and expanded salary ranges to help attract veterinarians. The streamlined volunteer process has dramatically increased the number of active volunteers. There was a time when dogs went days without getting out of their kennels, adding to kennel stress and dangerous conditions for caretakers. Now, more often than not, every dog gets out, and some even get out twice or 3 times a day, which is incredible. There's still much work to do. CMAC remains vitally important to our community. There are still gaps in staffing, especially in the medical team and front lobby. Our medical team cares not only for the animals in the shelter, but the hundreds in foster home, like Jackie's. More medical staff means timely care and more lives saved. The front lobby is the heart of the shelter. It's emotional, demanding, and busy, and more support there directly impacts and serves our community members. Volunteering in an underfunded municipal shelter is difficult but deeply rewarding. The need never stops, and the cycle of trauma and loss is real. Yet volunteers and staff show up every day because we care deeply about the residents of Mecklenburg County. We have a hardworking, robust volunteer and foster community. With your continued support in fiscal year 27 to close staffing gaps and strengthen these programs, we can keep moving forward toward the 90% plus live release goal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Benz.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Shannon Benz, founder of Sustain Charlotte. I'm here tonight to speak in strong opposition to the proposed I-77 South Toll Lane project on behalf of Sustain Charlotte and 24 other community-based organizations. Please stand if you are here as part of those organizations tonight. Look around the room. These are your constituents. They feel unheard. And tonight, I am submitting a petition signed by nearly 1,300 residents from all across our city in every district who feel the same way. Last week at the CRTPO meeting, Commissioner Altman called this process what it appears to be, a bait and switch. In October of 24, you, City Council, were told you would have a meaningful opportunity to vote on this project again in the future, to change your mind if you didn't like where it was headed. But that opportunity never came. The state moved forward. Preliminary road designs that had existed since October of 2024 were not shared with the elected officials or the public until just 3 months ago, and only after NCDOT had secured the assurances that support would not be withdrawn once procurement began. That is not transparency. That is not partnership. It is not how public trust is built. Meanwhile, cities across America are removing the freeways that divided their communities. Charlotte is being asked to add 4 more lanes many working families cannot afford to use, at the expense of air quality, equity, and long-term cohesion. The people in this room And the 1,300 whose names I submit tonight are not asking for another conversation with NCDOT.
Thank you very much. We will.
Whether or not you believe you have formal authority, you have influence, and we ask you to use it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Preston Gibson and Shauna Bell.
I do not see Preston there.
You don't see Preston? Miss Bell? And we don't seem to have Mr. Gibson? Mr. Gibson. So Miss Bell and Miss Vera Faulkner? Miss Faulkner? No, you go ahead. You want to go up to the microphone up there. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I've never seen those.
You guys are helpful sometimes. Okay. Vera Faulkner, please come down, and we have another microphone over here. But while we're waiting, let's go ahead. Miss Bell.
Good evening. My name is Shauna Bell, a resident of McCrory Heights. Our opposition to I-77 has been consistent since we were given just 24 days to comment on 2 predetermined options. We have raised concerns about cost, equity, environmental impact, and the history of highway expansion through Black neighborhoods. We recognize congestion is real, safety concerns are real, and growth is real. The question is not whether something should be done, it's whether this is the best solution, a solution that felt decided before we ever walked in the room and are now expected to accept it. In your adopted 2040 plan, you committed to safe and equitable mobility, prioritizing transit-oriented development, and reducing exposure to harmful environmental contaminants so that all Charlotteans can live in healthy, resilient neighborhoods. A $4.3 billion highway expansion through residential communities does not align with those commitments. I understand your position that you do not have unilateral authority to pause this project, but you do have political influence. You can advocate, you can apply pressure, and tonight you can publicly call for a vote to pause so that meaningful engagement and the full evaluation of alternatives can occur. You were elected to represent all of us, not just the most powerful voices or the loudest interests. Leadership is not about brokering commitments after decisions are made. It's about standing up for the communities that do not have the same influence, access, or resources. For those who support the plan, my question is, what sacrifice are you willing to make for the sake of growth? If this were coming through your neighborhood, would you accept it or demand better? We simply want the same quality of life, environmental protections, and considerations that everyone wants for their own families. Charlotte has a choice, and history is watching, and our legacy will be shaped by whether we choose convenience or courage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break here on Live Impact. We'll return with more from this public forum discussion, hearing various topics broached by community members here in Charlotte. We'll see you in 2. Folks, back here in the Live Impact News studio, we're going to turn back to the public comment section of tonight's Charlotte City Council meeting as the public gets to address city leaders directly about topics they care about.
Ms. Faulkner.
Good evening, City Council. From I-77 to CLT Airport, we are here today with the Housing Justice Coalition demanding a stop to displacement. We are here today because the recent lease negotiations between Charlotte Douglas International Airport and American Airlines, along with 5 other carriers, will bring displacement to the people of West Charlotte and surrounding areas. The public was not given transparency on these decisions or an opportunity to review what is being decided. It is clear that workers, families, and homes are not being taken into account, and for far too long, people's homes and land are being taken away for capital greed, as they can go through with big projects with including the major factor of people's lives. The ongoing expansion of Charlotte's highways, infrastructure, and airport means that neighborhoods and families in Steelbury, West Boulevard, Clanton Park, and neighboring areas are going to continuously disappear. We've seen this happen before. While corporate profits, how are working people supposed to work without wage increases? How has Airport City handed over land for manufacturing and expansion for decades while never ensuring that those who have been living here can afford the effects? It is the question of the political power that our elected officials have on the city and whether they will use this time to represent the public or continue to prioritize entrenched corporate interests. Communities deserve a say in what is happening, especially when expansion projects like this are threatening their lives. So we are here today asking for a 90-day public review period before any lease agreement is finalized. We seek transparency within these negotiations. We demand a standard living wage for airport subcontractors. We demand a displacement mitigation fund, and we demand community grants for the neighborhoods that are going to be directly impacted. We stand here today in solidarity with communities fighting displacement across Charlotte, including those opposing the I-77 toll lane expansion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sean Langley.
Good evening, elected officials. We are here requesting you to take a strong and visible stand against what many of us view as a profound injustice. Your individual votes matter now more than ever. It will shape not only the trajectory of this I-77 project, but the future of every constituent you represent. Today, we're asking you to advocate for a pause in the I-77 expansion project so the full scope, intent, alternatives, and long-term consequences can be properly studied and understood. Many of you have seen the maps. Both options are deeply harmful and fundamentally misaligned with the values this city claims to uphold. The online survey conducted by NCDOT between November 12th and December 5th was highly subjective, framed with leading questions, and structured to generate socially desirable responses rather than honest, balanced feedback. So here is why so many organizations are vehemently opposed to this project, including the Black Political Caucus, Sustain Charlotte, Southern Environmental Law Center, Clean Air, Soul Nation, PSL, McCrory Heights, Wilmore, Oaklawn Park, Dale Brook, Nations Ford, and countless other neighborhoods are here because they are vehemently opposed to this project. The Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization convened a board called Beyond 77. The report produced 286 recommendations. Not one of them recommended expanding toll lanes. Before moving forward with this expansion, we should pause and examine those findings in detail. The City of Charlotte has adopted the SEEP Strategic Energy Action Plan that calls for a 72% reduction in vehicle emissions by 2035. Expanding highway capacity directly contradicts that commitment. Charlotte continues to struggle with economic mobility. In 2014, we ranked last, while modest progress has been made, remain nearly at the bottom. Adding elevated toll lanes that cost working families $25 each way, as noted publicly by leaders in Davidson, will create infrastructure issues.
Sean, thank you.
Guys, this is bigger than one neighborhood. This is about transparency, climate responsibility, economic mobility, and whether community voices truly matter. Leadership requires courage. Now is the time to show it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ann Brooks and Damian Smith, our next two speakers.
Talking in favor?
Mayor Lyles, members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Ann Brooks. I am Vice President of Government Affairs for the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. As our city grows, we are asked to make generational decisions about infrastructure, and the conversation around the I-77 project is one of those moments. Community input cannot be occasional or reactive. It must be ongoing, structured, and transparent. The current timeline allows for exactly this kind of planning, education, and community involvement. We are years away from finalized construction plans. The projected delivery in the 2030s does not mean bulldozers arrive tomorrow. Community concerns around displacement, cost escalation, and the legacy of past highway decisions are critical voices that must be heard, respected, and provided direct outreach. We are here tonight to remind this body that addressing these concerns do not require stopping or pausing the project. This is not an all-or-nothing, zero-sum decision. Charlotte has the opportunity to pair mobility improvements with clear protections, accountability measures, and sustained engagement. We cannot improve safety and mobility while protecting neighborhoods. This is the exact time for these conversations to happen. Starting over just means we having to get right back to this portion of planning. From 2014, when the CRTPO first added I-77 South to the state's plan as a managed lanes project, to today, other transportation planning has taken place with this project in mind. Transit planning, bus system upgrades, and secondary road improvements have all been developed within the context of I-77 planning. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and a quick break here on Live Impact. When we return, we're going to pop in with an item we see on the agenda being discussed right now, Charlotte City Council, of interest as it does discuss affordable housing. We'll see you in 2. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Live Impact. We'll turn now to the City Council meeting that is live underway right now. Just touching now on this affordable housing item on the agenda where city leaders could approve up to $4.1 million towards essentially acquisition of property at the 5 Points neighborhood on West Trade Street for affordable housing development. Let's listen in right now.
Looking at affordable housing, co-op, as well as incubator space. So we are not just building affordable housing, but really building enabling small businesses to scale up. So I appreciate the collaborative partnership here of Ms. Adams, Charles Thomas, LISC, and all the organizations that have been part of this. I know Ms. Adams has been working on this for almost a decade now, and I certainly appreciate your leadership on this. I hope that you will mentor other neighborhood leaders in the city, because this is a model that we want to replicate in other parts of the city, especially in underinvested areas historically, and how we can bring opportunities and how we can build affordable housing as part of the overall development so that we are also creating upward mobility. So I appreciate your work and love to see more. Thank you.
All right. Joy, thank you.
I love to echo what my peer said as well. Very excited for y'all. I think this is a great opportunity. Really shows what a community can do together when they rally behind an idea and a leader who's so innovative. Also very excited to replicate this in other places. I know Jatani and I have talked about some opportunities in District 3. And I just text one of my people, like, have you scheduled the meeting yet? So I'm very excited about that. I think this is a great opportunity for us to start replicating and thinking through how do we create developments with the community in mind to kind of help with some of those systemic. So I am excited to vote yes today.
All right. Let's see our next speaker.
On the last
It's
one.
you. On purpose. I can see it now.
So first of all, I'm going to echo a lot of the comments that my council members made, but this really started with Councilman Graham calling Councilmember Mayfield and myself and said, we need to move quickly on this project. We have a great opportunity to do something special. So while he was giving accolades to all of us, I have to thank the district rep for putting fire underneath 5 feet, because we knew there was a land acquisition date that Jatanya called all of us 7 o'clock in the morning to remind us what time it needed to be done. And city manager, I got to thank the city staff, because from our meeting, we quickly got 2 DCMs involved, Monica Allen and Allison Craig.
All right, sorry about that, folks. We're going to work on fixing the connection here. Looks like it's still buffering, so let's go ahead and take another break here. We'll be back in 2 minutes with more from this meeting. All right, folks, we fixed that stream there for you, coming to us from Charlotte City Council. They are still discussing this item on affordable housing funding, specifically for acquisition of property at 5 Points on West Trade Street. Let's listen in.
In this project.
Sure. So this is a land acquisition project that's being funded with your Housing Trust Fund.
Okay.
So in what is before you tonight, there is not a specific affordability matrix because this is this two-step process where you put money into the land and then they come back to you with the details of the project, and we'll explain the entire affordability matrix. But because this is your Housing Trust Fund and because of your policy, which says all Housing Trust Fund projects will have 20% of the units at 30%. Unless you waive your own policy, they will have to meet those guidelines for you to fund it for the step 2 of the project.
Okay. Thank you. So I want to make sure that there was a project. It was city land was going to be donated for a project, I think, and we talked about there not being any units for 30%. So if this is not it, we can talk about this later before it comes to the agenda. So I make sure that we stay on top of that. Okay? Thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
All right, so now that everyone's had an opportunity to vote, all in favor of we have a motion, and all in favor, please raise your hands.
Raise both hands.
All right, so I think that's unanimous. Okay. Okay. We're going to get out of here soon at some point, I think. Okay, so our next item is interlocal agreement for continuation of risk management services. For item 10, is there a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager or his designee to negotiate and execute an interlocal agreement with the Metropolitan Public Transportation Authority for the provision of risk management services? And this is the second part of it. Item B, which is authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute all documents necessary to complete the interlocal agreement.
A motion for A and B, Mayor.
Second. We have a motion and a second for the A and B. All right. Are you ready to vote?
I'd just like to make a comment or a question, really.
Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to ask a question because I was reviewing the interlocal agreement, the actual language, and can a staff member or perhaps Mr. Manager yourself just share more about the risk division and the clauses that relate to Medic, the library, the regional authority, and other entities? And this is at the end of page 1.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson, Mayor and Council. Matt Hasted, CFO. So risk management is a division within finance. So risk management as a division has many services, but it includes procuring insurance services, workers' compensation, property and casualty claim investigation and handling, also with health and safety. So we do this for across all city departments, CATS, aviation, Charlotte Water, Stormwater, general services. But we also do this for a number of outside agencies, so they actually contract to the city of Charlotte to perform these services for them. So we provide those exact same services through separate agreements with the Mecklenburg County, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, the library, Medic, and CRVA. So it's very common for us to have these type of agreements because we get a little bit of buying power and economies of scale, so that we're looking to continue that through with the MPTAs. CATS is currently serviced by risk management. So this is ensuring that as we work through the transition, that there's absolutely no loss in coverage for any of their insurance programs, handling of claims, as we're really starting already now to look at procuring insurance services for a 7/1 effective date. This is really a critical time to make sure that the insurance underwriters know that that sort of continuation of services will be maintained.
Thank you. I appreciate that and absolutely appreciate the concept of leveraging scale, right? Is this effectively a service level agreement as an extension, or I'm trying to understand the relationship as it transitions over to the MPTA.
Sure. I think that there's probably going to be a multiple-step process through this. So I think initially, it will be maintaining us providing services to CATS as they remain a department of the city. And if there's things that come up during this transition that the MPTA needs above and beyond what we already have done for CATS, say they lease office space for themselves, they start hiring direct employees before we transfer ours, we may need to provide workers' comp services or insurance for physical building space. That'd be a new service that we'd be providing to the MPTA and get compensated for, reimbursed for. But as we sort of look at that long-term relationship, it'd absolutely be a sort of full service agreement between us and the MPTA.
So will this vote tonight then cover any potential addition of scope as you're speaking of, or will it cover a finite level of scope? And any additional scope creep or increase of scope, would it come back to council?
Sure. May look for Andrea or Stuart to help me with this, but I believe that specifically what we're looking at here is through the FY27 year. So it's primarily focused on getting us through that transition and allowing us to have time with consultants and the city to really determine what that long-term partnership needs to fully encapsulate, because there's a lot of stuff that's we're obviously still working through and figuring out, but this is really to make sure through that transition that is completely seamless for both us and the MPTA.
Got it. So it's effectively continuing the service, but then also laying out the framework for a forward-looking level of service.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, any other questions, Ms. Ashmira?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Will the city be reimbursed for the services once the revenue starts getting collected?
Sure. So as CATS already budgets for a lot of these services already. So anything that's a part of the already CATS budget as a city department, there'd be no additional cost for that. If there's anything above and beyond that we have to do but for the MPTA, that's when a reimbursement would occur for the city, but absolutely.
So is the risk management under you, Mr. CFO?
Yes, it's a division within finance.
Oh, got it. It's a matter of all trades.
Yes.
All right.
My best.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Do we have a motion?
We did.
We do. And so now that we have a motion, all in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone in opposition? Okay, we're good. Thank you so much. The next item. Oh, this concludes our business items for the vote, but I would like to ask you, we talked about at the meetings at the end that we would have everyone.
All right, and before we get to the next item here, let's go ahead and take another break here on Live Impact. We'll see you in 2 minutes. All right, folks, we want to join back in with this public comment section from tonight's Charlotte City Council meeting. As we mentioned, some really interesting conversations had, and we want to continue to look at some of the big topics, including a lot of vocal public members regarding this I-77 toll lane expansion project. Let's listen in right now.
Our next speaker is Evan Sototis, if I apologize for that, and Mark Wilson. Thank you.
Esteemed councilors, on January 2nd, my car was struck from behind on I-77 exit 6A, pushing me out into the middle of Woodlawn Road. Miraculously, the oncoming traffic stopped before T-boning me, but my vehicle was a total loss. We can all agree that I-77 needs change, but the elevated toll lane project will cause significant harm to our communities for no added benefit at all. NCDOT says stopping now would be wasting money already spent, but this is just arguing the sunk cost fallacy. State funding can still be used in ways that do improve traffic on I-77 without damaging our parks, greenways, and historic Black communities. The Charlotte urbanists have previously presented alternatives before the CRTPO, where member Parker Garrison offered effective solutions, such as rerouting truck traffic around I-485 as Atlanta does with I-285, connecting merging and diverging lanes such as Virginia did with I-95, and eliminating exits from through lanes, turning the existing carriageways into local lanes at the I-485 intersection. These options can all be done at low cost without expanding the right-of-way, and can be combined with the redesign of dangerous exits to reduce congestion and improve carrying capacity without constructing elevated lanes. Finally, members of the urbanists have consulted directly with CATS and the Silver Lines engineering team, confirming that the construction of the elevated toll lanes will likely increase the cost of viaducting I-77 significantly, delaying construction of the Silver Line. This will result in further cuts to the length of the line, making it unable to reach the Bojangles Coliseum. The I-77 toll lanes are a bad deal for Charlotte, and the project needs to be completely rethought, not just redesigned. Remember, NEPA legally requires one of the alternatives to be no implementation. NCDOT is just leaving it out of the list of options. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, Council, elected officials, and all others here tonight. My name is Mark Wilson. I am the Secretary of the Charlotte Firefighters Association, IFF Local 660. We represent members in all divisions of the fire department, the inspectors, life safety educators, the firefighters, and telecommunicators. We're the ones that ensure safety and protection of life when 911 is dialed. Tonight, however, you, council members, are 911. We are calling you for help, and the citizens of this city need you to answer that call. Public safety in Charlotte is entering into a crisis, not just the police department like we see on the news, but the fire department too. Our budget and pay plan has not kept up with the growing demands of the city. Our members have consistently been in the bottom 50% of pay and benefits compared to Charlotte's comparable cities. This is hurting recruitment and retention. We are struggling to get applicants in the door and keep firefighters on the job. Firefighters from all experience groups, those with a couple years of experience and those with 20 years of experience, they are leaving to go to other departments and other fields of work that offer better pay and benefits. We are working a job that takes us away from our families for 52 hours a week. That is an extra 78 8-hour working days when compared to the other employees in the city. When someone gives so much of themselves and their family, it is only right for them to see an equal return. The Public Safety Pay Plan Committee has been asking for maintaining parity with the pay plan and adjustment that is sorely needed. This will bring us closer to the average comparable cities. It will help ensure the next generation of firefighters will choose Charlotte as the city they want to work for. It is keeping experience and knowledge of our members on the street and providing the citizens with the level of service that they not only expect, but they deserve. Thank you.
next two speakers are Fushia, I think, Hoover, and Dr. Janet Gardner Mullins.
Okay, she's here. Is she right there? Dr. Hoover.
That's good, too.
She must have thought she wanted to get off the wait list. That's valid.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and community. I'm here representing residents along the West Boulevard and Wilkinson Boulevard corridors, living at the intersection of highway expansion, airport growth, and future transit investment. Charlotte talks often about growth. Growth is real, but far too many of our neighborhoods, growth has meant displacement, gentrification, without consent, without protection, and without shared benefit. I-77 has never been just infrastructure here. It's been a dividing line. Past transportation decisions displace families, gentrify communities, and weaken generational wealth, and push Black neighborhoods further from opportunities. Today, residents feel history returning to itself, not through eminent domain, but through market forces. Displacement today doesn't arrive with a bulldozer. It arrives through rising rents, property tax foreclosures, small landlords selling, aging apartments redeveloped out of reach, quiet removals that hollow out communities while the skyline grows. These neighborhoods sit at the center of Charlotte's future, surrounded by highways, airport expansion, and proposed transit. That visibility attracts investment. It also attracts speculation. The difference this time is that Charlotte has tools it didn't have before in the past: anti-displacement policies, land acquisition, property tax protection, and community-driven planning authority. Those tools exist now, but what's missing is urgency. A faster road is not progress if the people who live beside it can no longer afford to stay. Thank you.
I want to make sure that we heard from Fushia Hoover. Ms. Hoover, are you here? Okay, so then we will go to the next person on the, is Sharif Hannan. I see you, yeah, yes.
I'll get pretty far.
You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Sharif Hannan, and I'd like to make a comment about the I-77 expansion plan. I'm going to sum up what a lot of other people are already saying. Everything about this plan stinks. We're planning to build a segregated highway for the rich on top of historically segregated neighborhoods that were already torn through by the original I-77. Should we be grateful now that instead of destroying homes and digging up graves, we're now getting a double-decker concrete monstrosity? It's amazing that NCDOT has been able to just change that plan on a whim. Yet, Councilman Driggs, the council's representative on the CRTPO, insists that we can't even re-review the terms of the public-private partnership that will likely funnel billions in toll revenue to private interests. Really? A complex financing mechanism for $4+ billion, a complete redesign, and yet no mention or discussion about projected toll revenues or the toll revenues that will ultimately be siphoned off by private interests for 50 years. You better bet those private equity interests will be reviewing those figures, yet the public remains in the dark. Partnership, right? Rough estimates show that the existing I-77 toll lane will net about $6 billion over 50 years, yet the highway cost only $650 million. Enough is enough. We need to consider changing our representative on the CRTPO. We need to make sure that every stone is turned to pause the I-77, including removing the project from CRTPO's Metropolitan Transit Plan. Alternative construction plans need to be explored, including municipal bonds and utilizing the hotel and tourism tax. And for God's sake, will you please remember that you represent the public in public-private partnerships? Thank you so much.
So this is the end of our public forum, but I want to really have a moment with you to thank you for sharing with us your perspectives, your concerns, and we appreciate that you came here to speak today. I want to begin by acknowledging that many in our community are concerned and frustrated, more than you can imagine. We understand that. We hear you, and your voices matter in this process. This project is being led by the North Carolina Department of Transportation. As much as we would have, we know that this project is led by the Department of Transportation from North Carolina. The city cannot unilaterally delay or stop this project. However, it's important for us, very important for us, to get your feedback so that we can take this to the state. We have been in an ongoing conversation with state leaders to share these concerns and the things that we're hearing from you. I hope that we will have the ability to have Secretary Johnson, who is committed to a meeting directly that impacts neighborhood leaders and has shared that commitment in writing. Our focus is on clear communication and making sure residents have meaningful opportunities to stay informed and provide input. I've referred this item to the March 5th Transportation Planning and Development Committee meeting, and NCDOT has been invited to attend to explain the process and the next steps. But I'd like to take a moment to have you come up. If you would like to have more information, we certainly want you to have that. So we have put together an ability to go upstairs, if you choose to do so, to learn more about what we would be thinking about as a community and your council. I'd also like to ask if you would take a moment to allow us to share and extend our city attorney to share and extend more about this project. And so if I'm going to turn it over to Andrea over this way so that we can have a conversation that or perhaps.
All right, folks, and there you have it, the public comment section from tonight's Charlotte City Council meeting. Very robust dialogue that we heard from both the public and from city leaders as they responded to some of the concerns from folks tonight. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We're following some breaking news right now from Cramerton and McAdenville, so stay with us. We'll have that for you in just 2 minutes. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Live Impact News. We're just getting some word right now from Cramerton Fire that one of its firefighters has passed away. Apparently, this gentleman was not only with Cramerton, but also McAdenville Fire. This post just posted today by Cramerton Fire. It is with heavy hearts that we share the passing of Joseph Joey Todd Pullen. They say who faithfully served our community as a dedicated firefighter with McAdenville and Cramerton Fire Departments. They go on to say Joey was the true definition of a public servant. He cared deeply for others, always ready to lend a hand, offer support, or step forward when someone was in need. His servant's heart, steady presence, and commitment to protecting both towns made a lasting impact on both his fellow firefighters and the citizens he proudly served. They did go on to say that there was a family and friends visitation this evening, and tomorrow there is set to be a funeral service at 1 in the afternoon in the chapel with Reverend Rufus Johnson officiating, and they just go on to say that they're grateful for the years of his service and the sacrifice and the example that he set for everyone. So once again, a community reflecting on a firefighter who made a big impact on two towns, McAdenville and Cramerton, Joseph Todd Pullen. Turning back now to some of our other headlines right now of the day. On the sports front, our sports director, Nick Carboni, has been spending the evening over at Stake 48, the scene of every single year, Greg Olson's Hardest Yard Ungala. So he spent some time over on the red carpet tonight speaking with some of the glitterati, if you will. So we want to take you to some of those interviews right now.
The annual Hardest Yard Ungala with Charlotte FC's Brant Bronico. Brant, you've been to this event before. What's special about it, and why do you want to come out and support Greg Olson and what he's got going on?
Yeah, I think you said it right there. Just, you know, what he's about, what he supports. Obviously, you know, he's a major Charlotte figure, having success with the Panthers, but I think what he does off the field is much more important, as I'm big in the community. So I just want to get out and support as much as I can.
What's so special about the Charlotte sports community? Because we've got MLS stars, NFL stars, NASCAR royalty coming out tonight. What makes it unique?
Yeah, I think it's just the willingness of everybody just to come out and support each other. I feel like that's rare in other cities that I've been to and been a part of. But Charlotte, you know, it's a special city, special community, and, you know, sports figures supporting each other. I feel like it doesn't get much better than that.
How you guys feeling coming back from St. Louis with the draw, looking for 3 points next Saturday at LA?
Yeah, you know, I think taking a point away from an away game, you know, obviously you want 3, but coming away with 1's not bad. Obviously, you know, next weekend want 3 points, but we're feeling good. A couple things to correct, but once we do that, I think we'll get rolling and bring in the wins to Charlotte come that home stretch.
Hopefully it'll be warmer than this, March 7th, but a road game in LA should be fine. But you know, you've been on this ride the whole time with Charlotte FC. What are you feeling from the club, from the community as you enter year 5 and hope to make that deeper playoff run?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the commitment from the club, you know, to make it better with the players, the staff, just all around, and then the supporters as well. The commitment from the supporters is everything. We have a massive home stretch running, you know, through March through middle of April. So yeah, the commitment from everybody, and just to raise our standard. You know, obviously we've gotten better every single year, but we want to compete for trophies, and that's what we're going to set out to do this year.
All right, get warm, have fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got it. That's the Italian. We are here at the 5th annual Hardest Yard Ungala with Greg Olson. Greg, what a special night as always. What do you look forward to the most when you step through these doors at Stake 48 on this night?
Well, of course. I mean, obviously being able to do this at one of the premier, you know, restaurants and one of the premier experiences in all of Charlotte. We're obviously super blessed that we're able to do this now 5 years in a row. They've been such great partners, and allowing our foundation to come here, host some of our friends, our family, some of our biggest supporters, donors, people from all around the community that have helped make the Hardest Yard what it is today. And you know, again, we always say we can't do any of this without our community partners, and over the last 5 years, Stake 48 has been one of our best.
And it goes beyond the last 5 years. I mean, you're meeting, or, you know, hearing from families and kids that, you know, you talked to them before the children were even born and were dealing with this. What is that like to see how far they've come in their journeys as you guys have come with TJ?
Yeah, you know, it's one of the coolest things about doing this now for 13 years is is all those personal connections. You know, like you said, families that we met when the mom was pregnant and scared and just got a tough diagnosis, and they reached out to us, just kind of sharing our story and our perspective. And now here they are, you know, their kids are, you know, in school, they're playing sports. We get all these great stories. So to be able to connect with them at our community events, whether to connect with them via social media and just stay in touch with them, is watching them grow, watching them thrive is just a constant reminder of why what we do is so important, why Levine Children's Hospital is so special to this community, and why we all continue to spend so much time and effort supporting it.
And as you reflect 5 years of this event, over $1 million raised, more to come tonight and in the future, what does that mean to you and Kara?
Yeah, it means so much. You know, this program can only continue to expand as the community continues to support us, and we're just constantly reminded every year when we run our series of events, just people's ability to show up, people's ability to continue to support us after all these years, is what makes Charlotte so special, and it's what makes this such a big part of our lives and why we've chosen to make it home.
All right, get warm, have fun.
Appreciate you guys being out here on this cold night. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Here at the 5th Annual Hardest Yard Ungala with Panthers wide receiver Jalen Coker. Jalen, you did not get the chance to play with Greg Olsen, but why was it important for you to be here at this event tonight to support him and what he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think once a Panther, always a Panther, you know, and like I was saying, you know, it's just an amazing opportunity that we have, you know, the roles that we're in, and I look for every opportunity to give back, and this is such an amazing event I wanted to be a part of.
And now that you're fully part of this Carolina Panthers community, we know you've got a legion of loyal fans too. What does it mean to be a Carolina Panther in the city of Charlotte, in this region?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything, you know. You can feel the city, you know, rallying behind us, you know, and it's just an amazing opportunity to, you know, get people packing the bank again and just continue to win football games here.
How much are you motivated this offseason by, you know, getting to the playoffs, that moment you had in front of those fans? Obviously, you guys come up short, but, you know, surprised a lot of people outside that you were even in that position. How much does that motivate you every day right now?
Oh, it's everything, you know. I think, like you said, I mean, a lot of people counted us out, you know, and then to just have the ability to, you know, come back and host a playoff game, which is amazing. But, you know, that's the standard now. We're going to continue to build off of that and just grow from there.
All right, it's, you know, combine time, draft time, but as you know, there's a lot of guys that don't hear their names called. What would your message be to a player like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, just get ready to work, you know. I think, and just take advantage of all your opportunities, you know. I think a lot of guys get discouraged by not hearing the name call, but, you know, if you make a team, if you get on a mini camp, rookie mini camp, whatever, OTAs, all that stuff, you know, every day is an opportunity. Every day is a chance to, you know, prove to the NFL and the teams why, you know, they missed out on not drafting you. So I think it's just more motivation.
I'm not an entertainment reporter. I don't do red carpets that often, but I have to ask what you're wearing, especially up top. What's the hat all about?
Yeah, this is a chop wood, carry water. Hunter Renfro gave it to me, you know, just kind of symbolizing perseverance. You know, it's something that I, you know, have dealt with in my career and here especially. So it's just kind of a homage to that.
Jalen, get warm. Enjoy the night.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Have a good. Here at Greg Olsen's 5th Annual Hardest Yard Ungala at Stake 48, it's raised over $1 million now for kids and their families that are dealing with congenital heart disease. And I'm here with NASCAR superstar William Byron, Charlotte's own. William, you've been at this event before. Why is it so important to support Greg and what they're doing here?
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. Just really appreciate what Greg's doing for the community, and got a chance to get to know him this off season. So yeah, just excited for the night, and it's just a great cause.
All right, I mean, Charlotte kid, Panthers fan, what is it like for you to get to know Greg Olsen and be a part of things like this? And you're going to have Luke Kuechly here tonight and other Panthers as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's definitely grew up watching those guys, so it's fun to meet them and just spend some time. And you know, Charlotte's a pretty tight-knit community, so just enjoy being able to see them around town.
All right, 2 races in, how would you kind of assess things in the 24 car so far?
Yeah, it's been a little rocky with the results, but we had a lot of speed at Atlanta, and just excited to get the season going. It feels really fresh.
When I think of a format like the Chase that really rewards long success over a season, I think of you. And how do you feel about that change, and how does it adjust your approach at all?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can just be consistent, but yeah, it's really all about the speed because there's still more points for the winning the race. So it's all about having winning pace every week, but so far so good.
And last question, I'll let you get inside and get warm. Not sure I'll have a chance to ask you this between now and the fall, but the Roval going away back to the Oval at the Bank of America 400. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's great. The Oval's been racing really well, and Charlotte always puts on a great race, whether it's Roval or the Oval. So selfishly, I think the Oval has been pretty good to us, so hopefully we can have a good run there.
All right, get warm and have fun.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
And more from tonight's Hardest Yard Gala on the news at 11 here on WCNC+. We'll be back in 2 minutes with more. All right, folks, welcome back to Live Impact News. We want to turn now to the latest from your Olympics coverage. I know the Olympics are in the books for now, but we do have all of these athletes returning back home, including Team USA, men's hockey, of course, with that epic win over Canada to win Olympic gold. The first men's hockey gold since the Miracle on Ice 46 years ago. Let's listen in upon their arrival back home.
Sir, how you feeling today? The gold looks great around your neck.
Thank you. Yeah, feeling great. A little tired, but it feels good to be home and celebrating with the guys, our families last night. It's special. It means a lot.
Can you show us your medal? One right here.
There you go.
What's the one right here? Awesome. Has it sunk in yet?
Honestly, not really. Yeah, it still feels pretty surreal. I mean, I don't think we really realized the magnitude of just everything that's going to happen in the last 24 hours. Just because you're just in it, you're living right in it. And, getting back here, seeing all the support from back home, it's just incredible what this team was able to accomplish. And representing the U.S., obviously, it's an honor. So we're ecstatic and we're excited to be back home celebrating.
Can you put into words what it's like since 1980 this has to happen, and your team being able to accomplish that? USA!
Yeah, it's special. I mean, it feels like it's it's been too long. I think the U.S. has been knocking on the door for quite a long time. It's been some time since we've had some best on best tournament as far as the Olympics go with NHL players in it. So we got a taste of it last year with the Four Nations, and I think it just made everybody extremely hungry and motivated to come here, go to Italy, and get the job done. Like you said, it's been a long time, and it's great for the United States. It's great for the game of hockey in America, and it's pretty special just to be a part of that.
We're going to bring in Matthew Tkachuk. Thanks, Austin. You're good. Matthew, Chuck. What's the last 24 hours been like?
It's been a whirlwind. It's been amazing. It's a dream of ours. It was such an amazing way to unite the country. We felt the support being across the Atlantic, and now being back on home soil. We can feel it the second wheels hit the ground. So excited to be back in the greatest country in the world, and so excited to celebrate.
Matthew, are you guys teammates yet?
Just in line after the game, but no, they have their own plane back here, so I'll see them in a few days.
Matthew, how are you guys going to celebrate here in Miami?
We have spending the day here today, and then off to DC tomorrow, and then I'll be back in Lauderdale on Wednesday. So I don't know exactly what our plan is yet, but.
One right here, Matthew. One right here, buddy.
It'll be a little bit different. But I've played against my teammates before, whether it's Four Nations or going back to other international stuff for World Junior. So it's a little bit weird, but nothing too different. I don't think so, and I don't think it's like winning a cup. It doesn't really set in until like weeks or months or as time goes by. So now that we're back on U.S. soil and just the reaction we're getting from everybody, I mean, we just did something that only 30+ Americans have done in 100 years, and kind of changed history of hockey in the United States, and we should be very honored, very happy, and we should be allowed to celebrate this because it's quite an accomplishment.
Last two here. We got Jack coming.
I don't know. I think it's different. I was talking with Ikes about it. It's almost more meaningful to everybody else in the sense of it's a way to unite the whole country. I think when you go through the 2-month grind and the 82-game grind of the NHL season, like nothing will compare to that. That's as hard of a trophy as you're going to win in sports, the Stanley Cup. But when it comes to bringing together Americans, whether they like hockey or not, the Olympics and an Olympic hockey player at that stage against Canada, that's as high as it's going to get.
Last one. What was it like to get that phone call from the president?
It was super cool. It was an honor. It really is hearing from the president of the United States. Hearing that he was supporting us and all the other athletes and wanting us all to bring home as many gold medals as we can. So we're definitely honored to represent him and the millions, hundreds of millions across the country and bringing a gold medal back.
Thanks. Thank you. Jack, congratulations to you, my friend. How are you feeling? Has it set in?
I feel good. Obviously, last 2 days or whatever it's been long. I don't think we've let it soak in yet, but we're just super excited to be gold medalists.
Yeah, what's the last 24 hours been like for you?
Yeah, it's been long, like no sleep obviously, and then, we're enjoying it with our family, friends, great celebration after the game, and then we had like a 4:30 bus to get on the flight to get here, so happy to be back in the U.S. now, and we're going to enjoy this for a few days.
You're from Florida. How are you going to celebrate in Miami?
Yeah, I was born here, obviously, me and my brother, so lucky that we get to spend a couple days with our teammates, and we're going to enjoy the night.
Last two guys.
Jack, take us through that moment. You get hit in the face, you lose a tooth or two, and you still maintain your composure to stay in the game. You're tough enough to keep playing, score the winning goal. Take us through all of that. What's that like?
Yeah, it sounds like definitely crazy for you guys because just different profession, but in hockey, like if you lose your teeth, it's not even a question of like coming back and playing. That's like a automatic. So I just like was feeling around my mouth, and I was just disappointed I lost my teeth, but it is what it is now. So mid thing, he's interrupting me, but I don't know. I'm gonna fix these things. I want my good smile back.
Last one.
Give us a smile.
There are some young fans here. What are your messages? What's your message to young hockey players, to young fans?
Yeah, like that was the best. Honestly, the gold medal, it's so important for us because we worked so hard to get to that point, and it's for us. But the best part is, it's for, like I was saying, the day of the gold medal. It's for all the guys that have come before us, and all the young kids that are going to come after us. So, just like when I was a kid, I was growing up dreaming of being where I'm at now. And in 10 years, there's going to be another Austin Matthews. There's going to be another Matthew Tkachuk and another Quinn Hughes. So that's why we play, and we want to, leave USA Hockey in a better place than it was when we first got there.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. Congrats.
And of course, most recently they're hearing from Jack Hughes, who scored that game-winning goal against the Canadians to get Team USA its victory, losing his 2 front teeth during that game after taking a high stick to the mouth. All right, we're going to turn the page here, talk about another big discussion, and that is the fallout and the consequence now following that operation in Mexico. You might remember that right now U.S. officials are warning American tourists or U.S. citizens who might be in Mexico right now to shelter in place, and this follows a major operation recently to capture El Mencho, who's the leader of the powerful Jalisco New Generation cartel. Cartel has since retaliated violently. There have been roadblocks, vehicles set on fire, clashing with security forces. We recently sat down with an Arizona State University professor who has done a lot of research looking into these drug wars in Mexico, giving us more context on this topic. Let's listen to this earlier chat today. Who is with Arizona State University. And we understand, Professor, that you're actually writing a book about the history of these drug cartels and the drug war in Mexico. So you've got a wealth of information about this topic. We appreciate you joining us here on Live Impact.
No, thank you so much for having me.
So I guess as somebody who is a student of the history here, who has a very intimate knowledge of the dynamics at play, what would you want folks to know first and foremost about how we got to this moment in time, and how important is this situation as it stands right now, with the consequences that could come here on out following this operation?
Yeah, in the short term, what we witnessed yesterday across 15 states in Mexico with a type of violence that was unleashed by this drug trafficking organization in the aftermath of the killing of their leader, El Mencho, or Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes. This is not unprecedented. This is actually part of a script that drug trafficking organizations have practiced in Mexico for the last 15, 20 years. Anytime one of their big-time leaders or collaborators gets captured or killed by Mexican forces, they tend to lash out and to conduct these type of violent acts. The lighting of buses and cars and trucks on fire and placing them on streets and roads to prevent the circulation of traffic, shutting access to the entrance of communities by doing the same thing by lighting vehicles on fire. This is something that Mexico has witnessed over the last 10 to 15 years. Now, in the longer term, I think it's really important for Americans to think about the fundamental structural dynamics that really drive this type of violence and have driven this type of violence in Mexico for decades now. And the big one being that the U.S. is the largest consuming market of licit and illicit drugs in the world. I mean, that's the main driver of this type of violence in Mexico. And in the last 15 to 20 years, particularly since gun laws in the U.S. were liberalized, we've seen U.S. military-grade weaponry flow into Mexico, and that has also really intensified the violence that these drug trafficking organizations have been able to exercise, particularly as they became more paramilitary type organizations with very advanced and sophisticated weaponry coming from the U.S.
Yeah. I guess I'm just curious, for somebody who might be here in the United States watching what's playing out, watching the headlines and not know maybe how big or how little feel of a role. It was just like kind of hard to tell, if you're not living there in Mexico, how big of a role these cartels play in, let's just say, the daily life or a normal, run-of-the-mill citizen in Mexico. Are you, maybe depending on which state of Mexico you're living in, encountering these cartels perhaps on a daily basis or feeling the daily influence of their power, depending on where you live?
That's a great question. Yeah, it really depends on where you're living. So if you're in a major city like Mexico City, generally Guadalajara or Monterrey, which are also the three cities that will be hosting the Soccer World Cup in a few months, you generally don't have much contact with these type of drug trafficking organizations. Really, it's the people in the provinces, in certain localities located next to areas of narcotics production, or if they're located near drug smuggling routes, or if they're located near seaports. I mean, those are the folks who have to deal with this type of violence on an everyday, quotidian level that generally doesn't get reported, right? I think one of the reasons why we had such widespread coverage of the violence that we witnessed yesterday, one was because this leader was the head of the most powerful drug trafficking organization in Mexico and likely in the Americas, and also because of the scale of the violence that his allies were able to enact in the aftermath of his killing. But in large parts of Mexico, particularly in the countryside, people have managed to accommodate themselves with low simmering forms of violence that happen to them on an everyday level. I've worked as an expert witness on asylum cases, and I've read really horrific cases of people, the type of violence that people have faced. But again, because this type of violence happens far away from major cities and it's more or less isolated, that we generally don't get insight into the type of dynamics that fuel those violences in the first place.
Now, I mean, you mentioned that this has been underway for several years at this point, and I'm actually, hearkening back to, I want to say it was about 3 years ago. I feel like here in the Carolinas, this type of topic was last on our radar personally, because we actually had a group of 4 people from South Carolina who crossed over the border, and I understand one of the people in this group was there to try to get some sort of medical care that she wouldn't have been able to get here in the U.S., and they were actually fired upon and kidnapped by a different cartel than the one we're talking about here, but 2 of the people died and the other 2 were held captive until this cartel realized that they weren't with a rival cartel, because they had assumed that they were from a rival cartel.
Yeah.
And eventually the 2 people who did survive the attack were able to come back here to the U.S. But it just makes me think about how sometimes, if you don't understand, where specifically you're crossing into, the dynamics, how you could potentially get caught up in a situation that's a lot more serious than one might expect. And I also think about, too, just the dynamics between the cartels. I mean, do you know ballpark-ish of how many cartels are operating in Mexico? What is the dynamic between them? And what sort of impacts do the interactions between these cartels have on other people who might not be involved with this type of, activity to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's at least 2 or 3 national level drug trafficking organizations, one of which the CJNG, the organization that El Mencho was ahead of, is probably the most powerful one. The other one that folks may have heard about is the Sinaloa cartel, but that state of Sinaloa, located in northwestern Mexico, has been experiencing a sort of civil war for about a year since the U.S. government unilaterally involved itself in an operation that led to the kidnapping of one of the leaders of the Sinaloa cartel, El Mayo Zambada, a longtime ally of the more famous El Chapo Guzman. And his detainment, with the help of El Chapo's son, unleashed this horrific civil war in Sinaloa that had led to thousands of deaths in the course of a year. So that cartel has been really weakened. So the Jalisco cartel, the one that El Mencho was the head of, became the most powerful one. There's several other organizations at the state level and even at the local level. And one of the things that happens when and this has happened for decades now. Both the U.S. and Mexican governments have adopted a kingpin strategy, where as a way to hit at these drug trafficking organizations, they try to take out the leadership. It looks good politically. It looks good for governments and security forces involved, because it seems like they're doing something big and important in capturing famous drug lords. But what that translates into for people living on the ground is intensified violence, because then these organizations tend to fragment at the local level.
All right, and so once again, just a bit of our sit down with a professor who has a lot of knowledge about these drug wars in Mexico. We are about to run out of time here on Live Impact, so we just want to let you know we've got a lot more for you here on WCNC Plus, including up next, 704 Unfiltered with Mecklenburg County Sheriff candidate Ricky Robbins. And of course, stay tuned for our 11 o'clock news tonight. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.